Does hose size matters, and which shop vac hose picks up better? There are two different types of shop vac hoses. There are a 1.5 inch with 1.25 inch adapters like the Stinger and smaller shop vacs. And there's the 2-inch hoses, the larger ones for the bigger shop vacs. The smaller the diameter of the hoses, the better suction you're gonna get. The larger the diameter hoses, more things you can pick up. For this test, I have a 2-inch hose here. Actually, no, 1.5 inch hose. 2 inch is a lot bigger than 1.5 inch hose. And I have a 1.25 inch hose. And which one will pick up better? For this test, I have balloons and the things that's inside the balloons. The hose I'll be starting off with is the small 1.5 inch hose. Next is the 1.5 inch hose. This hose will probably pick up more than the other hose because the diameter is bigger. Now the hose sizes, if you saw with this hose was kind of slow to pick up debris because the diameter is larger compared to the other hose. The other hose picks up more than this hose. So there is a big difference of suction performance of these two hoses. I mean, this has less suction because you're sucking from a larger diameter hose except for the smaller diameter hoses. So this has more suction, and for this, if this hose was 8 feet long, like this one's 8 feet long, it's going to take a while. It'll go right into the hose. Now, for this one, I removed this right here because first thing is it's going to clog when you feed too much stuff in there. So this is the thing all these shop vacs have, one of these things right here. You've probably seen these, a lot of the smaller ones have it, like the Stingers and stuff. This plugs into the hose into your attachment. Now, attachment wise, so a lot of 2-inch shop vac hoses have larger attachments. They'll fit over it compared to like the smaller one. So this will fit slowly, snugly in there. It'll come right out. So when you're looking at performance and what are you using it for? If you're just using it for, let's say, the vacuum, let's say the floors and stuff, let's say get all the dirt, I recommend like the smaller 1.25 inch hoses like this size over the 2-inch, because first thing is the 2-inch hoses, you need more power to pull from it. That's why larger shop vacs have the 2-inch hose over the small hoses that you find on these smaller wet dry vacs. They don't need that much power to pull through the smaller hoses, but you're gonna need more power to pull from these larger hoses. I mean, for this size hose, it does make a large difference. And next would be clogs. You rarely will get clogs in larger hoses compared to like the smaller ones. So you can pick up any size debris. That could be, let's say, maybe like marbles up to ping pong balls, like that. Now, there are larger hoses that you find on those leaf vac trailers, but you need more suction power to pull from those hoses. They're larger than the 2-inch. This one's a 1.5 inch, and they don't have 1.5 inch for shop vacs. They're mainly 1.25 inch or 2-inch. 1.5 inch, you may see these on, let's say, car vacuums. Instead of these fit, you have to find attachments, these will fit well. So now attachment wise, there are adapters you can actually use for attachments. Let's say maybe you bought, let's say, a rigid shop vac that has a 2-inch hose, but you bought attachments that use the 1.25 inch hoses that you find on the Hoovers, these smaller shop vacs. You could buy an adapter to actually use it, but you're lacking suction, and you're gonna pull more suction from the hose. And those big shop vacs, they need to have a larger motor to pull from the larger hoses to have good suction. I mean, you're comparing to, let's say you hook up a small, you're getting more suction from there. You're pulling more debris if you hook up a reducer to it to reduce all the airflow. When you're hooking up the reducer to it, you're pulling more suction from the 2-inch hose compared to the 1.5 inch hose. I mean, you're pulling more suction, and you will be cleaning, picking up more debris, because first thing is, it does matter where the diameter of the hose is and how weak the vacuum is. If the vacuum is, let's say, a 2 horsepower peak, and the larger shop vac has a 6 horsepower peak or a 8 horsepower peak, that horsepower is strong enough for a larger 2-inch hose. Now, if you got yourself a shop vac, a small 2-gallon shop vac, or a 3-gallon shop vac, or a 1-gallon shop vac, they're mainly small shop vacs. They're mainly designed for like quick cleanup. They have smaller hoses. They will clog easily. There are different types of shop vac hoses out there. There are extension hoses and stuff. And which shop vac you have, if you're going to use a 2-inch hose, it's not going to fit. You need at least a 1.5 inch hose like this that will fit a 1.25 inch hose on these smaller shop vacs. Now, if you're talking about, let's say you bought a shop vac, but you want to reduce the suction and you want more suction from it, you could buy a reducer, those adapters, you put it on there, and you'll be pulling more suction towards the suction end, and you'll be picking up more debris. That's why larger shop vacs are mainly designed for water pickup, and that's why they're slow for water pickup and stuff compared to smaller ones. I mean, it may not pick up a lot of water like these smaller ones, because they have a larger hose. I mean, the larger the hose, the weaker the suction, but the smaller the hose, the better the suction. Now, there are different gallons. You're going to find larger ones on 10 gallons, 16 gallons, those type of shop vacs. Where on the smaller hoses, you're going to find it on 6 gallon, 5 gallons, 4 gallons, only the smaller stuff. They have smaller motors, so they don't need a larger hose for it. They work better with a smaller hose. And that's it. If this video was helpful, feel free to comment and subscribe.